What's up, you guys? Adventure Warrior here, doing another toy review. This time, or not really, I guess review slash collection showcase. This time, you see the title of the video, you know what characters we are looking at, and I've been meaning to finally do a video talking about these figures. Um, yeah. So of course, unfortunately, I would have wanted to get them all together. Like I bought them from one specific, collector person, but I had to get them individually. Kind of a bummer, but not a super big deal because I got all my figures for relatively reasonable. Like yeah, like pretty much below $30 for the most part, or maybe a little over $30, which are really good deals. Of course, these figures are going on 28 years old. Um, but it is what it is. Like I said, I know there's people who sell like accessories and stuff. So at some point, I probably will, invest in getting the accessories. Um, but I just wanted to get the characters, so that's what I did. Um, but yeah, so today you're finally taking a look at some vintage Hasbro slash Kenner um, excuse me, small soldier action figures. Yes, we're going to be looking at the mainline action figures that were produced in 1998, and of course, I'll give a little. I'll share an interesting story, um, and like I said, we will showcase the figures. If I can get my mic to connect. um, all right, let's see. Okay, so yeah, without further ado, so who should we look at first? So I already showed Archer. Scratch It, and Ocula all got their own videos. So like I said, let's take a look. So here we have Witch Doctor and Saniac. Um, cool. So Archer and Saniac and I would say Chip Hazard and Troclocon or Freakenstein all got like secondary, like they all got figures that were more toyetic and not based off how they looked in the movie. So they were kind of more gimmicky. I liked the movie version of Insaniac that they made, but I kind of gravitated to this one more. Like I like his pose, the pose he's in, and I like his crazy gnarly looking face and his teeth and that tongue, which looks really crazy. And he has a bone stuck to the tongue. Just it's like the designers just went wild, which suits Insaniac's character. They just went wild with his like I said, with his design. I might get the other one, maybe I don't know. Like I said, I kind of like this one more. And this one's wearing more clothes. He's wearing like a vest which has detail on it, and so he has this gauntlet, wrist gauntlet made of bones, and like it's so weird. Like the side of his face is orange. It looks like he's been burned, kind of like Two Face for some reason. And then his big toe is orange. It's just weird. And he has his necklace, which has you kind of can't see it, but has like the Gorgonite symbol emblem on it. Um, like I said, at one point they had planned to do a cartoon. A YouTuber I follow who I guess worked in the animation business or worked in that line of work visited the studio. Of course, this was years ago, of course, where they were in the process of making a cartoon, and they had like character sheets, and they had stuff. So I'm not sure if we ever got any actual animation, but just knowing that we were that close to getting a Small Soldier TV show really, really irks me so much because, like I said, this franchise, this property had the opportunity, the possibility of becoming a franchise, and it's just I don't know, it really, really sucks as a Small Soldier fan knowing that information. Um, this could have been a design we could have saw on the show for all I know. So I'm not sure what his gimmick was. Um, came with like these weapons that you attach to his arms, and the arms do something. You see, they move at the same time, so the arms are supposed to do something. Um, but just by himself, But just by himself, he looks he looks really cool. Looks really crazy. He doesn't look like a good guy, which I don't mind. But like so the detail, his skin and all that, really nice. Like I said, for 98, and he's solid. Like this figure feels solid. It doesn't, like the quality feels like this was made to last. I mean, look, 28 years later, it's still a solid looking toy. So yeah, Insaniac. Really happy with him. Really cool. I vibe with him. Awesome. Um, I'll show them all together. Next we have, which was probably my favorite, to an extent, we have Slam Fist. Now, unfortunately, I have the regular version. There were two versions. There was a second variant version of him where his skin tone is more like these. You see like these purple blotches on parts of his body were more darker. It kind of looked like tie dye, and especially his face. His face color on his face was a lot darker as well, which I kind of like. I like that one more. But this one, like I said, they were selling it for like $30 or something, and I, just went ahead and hopped on them, and ended up getting this one. Um, I need to, like I said, I've been cleaning these guys off. I need to clean him off at some point as well. But like I said, unfortunately, see, he's missing his back missile weapon thing, um, and he's missing his claw weapon, which looks those two accessories look really cool on him. And of course, Scratch It, which I'll go ahead and show. If you have Scratch It, she can sit on the little weapon piece that's on his back. So unfortunately, I've just been having her pose like that. So she kind of has her legs in his side of view, but yeah, I've been posing them together like this. So cool. Um, in one size comparison, he's very much big. Well, very chunky figure. But like I said, posability pretty basic. Go arms can go 360 for the most part. Unfortunately, no wrist swivel, which kind of sucks. No wrist swivel, and I didn't know this. The legs don't move. But I'm sure they easily could have put a joint in there. The legs don't move, which really I'm kind of surprised. Like, kind of bothers me. So really, he only has posability in his waist. Waist can go 360, go up and down, and like I said, the arms can go all the way up, and his head can go. Like I said, his head can go down and go up. Um, But I mean, like I said, he's really cool. I really gravitated to his design in the movie. This toy seems to be a little bit more. Um, the toy seems to be a little bit more slender compared to the movie version, where he's a little bit more bulkier. So I like the proportions of the toy a lot more than um, the movie design. But like I said, he looks cool, and I like the his armor. Um, yeah, his armor chest piece, and like I said, like the pieces, like I said, like the armor pieces on the shoulder and on the arm, and his green eyes, and like I said, unfortunately, like I said, there's some areas where paint is missing, but it is what it is. Yeah, so I say I clean him up a little bit. Yes, Punch It. Like I say, one of my favorite Gorgonites, if not my favorite, just from his visual design. That is Punch It. So this guy came a couple days ago. Um, yes, we are looking at Slam Fist. Really, really cool. I didn't think I would like him as much as I would, but he's really cool. Of course, I like his character in the movie. Um, so yeah, I had to do a little customization with mine. I bought him loose without his weapon. He came with like a like a blunt object that he could hold in his hand, in his boulder hand, which in the original toy is removable. And he has a gimmick where you can put the ball in this hand and he'll throw it, or you could do that with the when the ball with the boulder was attached. Um, so I did think the boulder was a little undersized. Um, so I might, to make him more authentic, I might try to. I know there's a few listings for the boulder by itself. Um, but I went and just bought some foam balls that you would use for like a school project. I wrapped plastic, the plastic bag. I just cut some of the plastic material, wrapped it around the foam ball because the material kind of, the material that the foam was made out of kind of gets everywhere. So I used plastic to cover it up, put some tape around it to hold the plastic there, and I took some thick rubber bands and wrapped it around his arm and made it where it could stay on there. Of course, I plugged the piece attached to Slam Fist that plugs into the rock. I just stuck that inside the styrofoam. So it looks pretty cool. It does look kind of makeshift. I was suggested to use paper mache, which I didn't think about. I gotta see how you do that. So that, like I said, this is a temporary fix, but it worked. It worked, and for the most part, the foam is staying on there pretty securely due to the rubber band. So, like I said, just a cool way, easy fix I did, and like I said, it looks a little bit more accurate as far as its size to the movie version, because like I said, I felt like the toy version was a little undersized. But due to his funky pose, he really only has posability in the head, and I mean the arm can go up this far due to how his shoulder is sculpted, and like I said, this arm can go that far, and it can go back a little bit. And of course, he has, because of his gimmick, he has the rotation, which is cool. So, like I said, visually, he's a very charming figure, and I can see this toy, like due to his gimmick, I can see this toy being a lot of fun, for a kid back in the day. I wish the scaling was better for these guys. I don't think the scaling. I don't know how accurate the scaling is from the movie, but yeah, I wish the scaling was a little bit better. So that is Slam Fist. Like I said, I need to clean him up as well. I got some markings on his hand, on his fingers. Um, yeah, it looks very hunchback, which I really like. I think Slam Fist was the first character that Stan Winston illustrated or designed. He was the first Gorgonite that was drawn. That's really cool, really neat. His big giant feet, and shoes, and all that good stuff. Um, yeah, so that's Slam Fist. And yeah, I'll go ahead and show all of my Gorgonites together. Then we'll move on to our villains, because yes, you can't have the Gorgonites without having the Commando Elite. So here's Archer and this soft good cape that I gave him, that I got from that were intended for the Mego reproduction figures. Um, there's Ocula, who came from the Burger King uh, toy line. Like I said, Scratch It. Like I said, these guys, they all. So these are my first three small soldier toys, and then I got Insaniac. Um, I got Insaniac, and then I got Punch It, and then I got the Commandos. Um, oop. Then we got so we got Slam Fist. So yeah, these guys, like I said, really charming. I was born the very tail end of the '90s. So this movie came out a year I was born, and it's just been fun to be a part of this. I would say the Small Soldier fan base, and really getting into this property, even though it only just had a movie and a couple of other material outside of that. But like I said, do think these figures still hold up. have a lot of charm to them, and they are fairly sought out on the aftermarket. So if I ever decided to part ways with them, I know I can make a good, you know, a nice little profit from them. But for the time being, I'm gonna, you know, enjoy having them in my collection. Like I said, I have an appreciation for the 90 for vintage 90 toys. You know, I'm kind of, you know, I grew up with Toy Biz and the way they did Marvel Legends back then. Like I grew up spoiled with super articulated action figures and um, yeah, super articulated action figures and with my watch and all that good stuff. Okay, so those are the Gorgonites. You see, I'm missing one. I'm missing Tropicon. Like I said, I had a chance to get him when he came out. I mean, not when he came out. There was a listing for him for like $30. Obviously, the seller didn't know the worth of the item that they were selling. They had it listed as a Transformer character, so that would have been an opportunity to definitely grab him. But at the time, I was kind of hesitant. I was like, do I want to start, you know, start collecting small soldier figures again? And once that figure, someone bought that figure, I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and start, you know, buying the small soldier figures. Because, like I said, that Troclocon slash Freakenstein, very expensive, very sought out. Don't really want to pay close to $100 at the moment, at least. I'll get him eventually down the line. We'll see, or if I find him for a good deal. So, like I said, can't have heroes without our villains. Here we have battle battle changing or no battle damage major chip hazard. Really cool. I like the design of him. I'm kind of mad. I saw a listing recently. Um, yeah, I saw a picture. I mean, it was a listing recently of this figure brand new in box. And I'm really bugged about because I think they were wanting like $50 for it, which is a good deal. That was brand new. That was fair. That was a good deal. I would have probably got him brand new because, like I said, I got him without his accessories. Um, but like I said, I got this one before I got the regular one because I just really like the aesthetic of him, kind of giving Terminator energy. I like the scar on his face and his facial expression, and got the red. And so, like I said, I saw the movie maybe once when I was younger, and like I said, I didn't really connect with it until later on when I saw it again. But at some point, I did look up the toys, years ago, and I saw a video review for this figure and the battle damage archer, which they have gimmicks, which I'll show in a minute. Um, so when I saw that video, I was like, yeah, if I ever get toys, I'd like to get these two figures. So at some point, I will get the battle damage archer because, like I said, I really like that archer as well. I just kind of wanted to focus on getting like just the main characters before I start getting the duplicates. Um, but yeah, like I said, nice posability. There's his Commando Elite emblem, um, battle damage. So, like I said, he has a gimmick. Um, he has a gimmick. So you see oh his legs pop off. um, and Archer's button is on his chest. His arms pop off. So again, really cool. Really, really cool. Oh, leg is there. We go. So, yeah, that is battle damage Chip Hazard. A little undersized, unfortunately, with my other two commandos. So I don't know when I'll get the regular Chip Hazard. At some point, I'll get him. Um, so now I'll talk about my next commando. Yes. So here is Nick Nitro, who I really like. He was one of my favorites in the movie, and he was, I think, the first commando to die. Spoiler. There was a funny line where Major Hazard says, "I served with your father. He was a good man." It was. I'm pretty sure it was a throwaway line, but it just makes you think, like, what? like what's the lore for the figures? Which really makes you think like, huh, that's kind of cool. Was Nick's father a soldier? Like, I don't know. It's kind of interesting, especially when I look at it through like the video game uh, universe, where I think they are all real living beings and not toys. So I don't know. It's a funny throwaway line. But again, detail on him was great. I like his tattoo. It says "Kaboom" on there. Has the stick of dynamite attached to his arm. His uh, Commando Lee emblem. He's nicely detailed, and I like his face. He just looks really mean. I love his mohawk. He even has earrings, but they're not painted. Um, his pose, though, just weird. I guess it's supposed to be action poses, and he was supposed to have this thing on his back. Of course, I don't have that. Um, like I say, he could hold. If he had a gun, he can hold a gun. I like the camo design. Like I say, he's just really cool. He's really cool. It's just that pose is just weird, but really cool. I dig him. One of my favorite commandos. Glad he got a toy. Put him off to the side. Lastly, last but not least, we have um, Brick Bazooka, which I said to clean him off a little bit. Which I really digged him in the movie as well as like a big bulky bruiser type character. Liked him in the movie as well. Um, yeah, so Brick. So like I said, he's cool. Again, I forget. Well, I didn't really talk about the posability on Nick Nitro. And going back to Nick real quick, him and Chip did get Burger King toys, which they were more like traditional action figures, and he had a really cool gimmick where his you pull a string on his back and his limbs pop off. I do want to pick up that chip, that Burger King chip, and Nick as well. I don't know when. Like the Burger King figures are, of course, fairly inexpensive. So I've been trying to find a listing where someone is selling them together, so I don't have to buy them separately. So we'll see. Yeah. So like I said, I'll probably get them as well at some point. But like I said, Brick, really cool. Like his design, his pose. I mean, yeah. I think it came with two guns, and he has a really cool gimmick that makes him stand out from the regular Nick and Major Chip Hazard. So you fold his head back, you see the sticker has his face on there. I'm glad the sticker is still in good condition. Um, yeah, has his gun. I guess this predates the Age of Extinction Lockdown, who had the gun head feature. Um, yeah, and the missile launches. So the missile was included, which I'm grateful for. The missile was included. Um, so like I say, he does look kind of weird from the back, but it is what it is, and basic posability. You have him in a sitting position. So again, the sculpting and the quality of these figures are really solid. I dig them. I really do. Um, so real quick, showed all three of them together, my three commandos, and yeah, we're kind of. So I think they had planned on doing Butch Meathook, who was the Black Commando, which would have been awesome, and Link Static, but unfortunately, that's when the toy line got discontinued or something. They did have a few other prototypes, but they were not prototypes of those characters. They're prototypes of existing characters, so that's kind of a bummer. Um, but I did say I wanted to add Cygor to the list. He's around the same size as the Commandos. Yeah, I want to add Cygor with them because I thought like evil gorilla cyborg character. I could see the Commandos experimenting on an animal to make a weapon to make a soldier strong enough to you know take out one of the strongest, the mightiest of Gorgonites. I thought that was a neat idea, and he's a villain. He's a Spawn villain, so why not? Why not have these guys have Cygor go with the Commandos? Um, like I said, they have another '90s figure that I plan to display with these guys as well. And stay tuned. Like I said, I might do a small soldier animation with these guys. We'll see what I come up with. But yes, here are the commandos, our villains. Like I said, it's a shame. This toy line's really cool. I've really gravitated to it. I do like these figures, even though, like I said, I'm spoiled with uh, modern superposable action figures with a lot of accessories. These old vintage figures still really charming. Like I said, this was a toy line for children, so you know the toy industry was different back then. But yeah, like I said, fun fact. I think I mentioned this in a previous Small Soldier video. My aunt uh, worked for corporate Kroger. She worked in the corporate side of Kroger. She retired from doing that. That was her career. Um, at one point in time, Kenner slash Hasbro operated in the same building that my aunt worked in. So just the possibility that these figures were once in the same building that my aunt worked in, or were once being designed or talked about in that same building that she worked at, is really really cool. Um, Another funny story: she told me she briefly dated an employee who worked for Kenner at the time. So okay, that's cool, I guess. So yeah, yeah, that's it. That's it. These are all cool figures. Like I said, I forgot. As far as the Commandos, due to some controversial shenanigans that took place around the time that these toys were released, we were supposed to. We did get Kip Killigan. There was another Commando, had a really cool gimmick, really solid looking figure. But that figure now is very rare, very hard to get. Excuse me. You're paying you'll be paying like close. I've seen it like for what, like 300, 400 for one figure. Now, if it's brand new, it's still steep, but understandable. We'll see. Maybe, like I said, when I'm in a position to spend money like that on a collectible, I'll probably get them. If I'm still collecting, if I still have these guys in my collection. Um, like I said, the Tropicon, the regular one is expensive, but then there was another one similar to, like I said, the Insaniac and the Archer that is very expensive. And unfortunately, I like both. I like both the Frankenstein's equally, but that more rare one I kind of gravitate to more, of course. Um, but like I said, Frankenstein and Kip Gilligan. Yeah, we'll see in the future. But like I said, the regular Chip, the Battle Damage Archer. Um, yeah, I would like to get my hands on those guys at some point. And like I said, the Burger King Chip and Nick Nitro, cool. Like to get them. But yeah, that's it. So like I said, as far as next video, like I said, that other '90s figure, hopefully it um, arrives on time. And that was another thing I forgot to mention. This guy, I got him like 3 weeks ago. Well, I ordered him around 3 weeks ago, and it took him forever to get here. He was in limbo. He went from all different parts of the state instead of coming to where he was supposed to come to. So I'm grateful that he got here. I thought I might have to order another one, but just we had to wait patiently and hope that the postal people did their job right, and he eventually came. So I forgot to mention that. So it took him forever to get here. Um, but yeah, like I said, next video, I don't know. Like I said, I want to kind of take a break from my small soldier collectibles. Um, and I want to, like I said, some Marvel Legends. I kind of want to pick up. After seeing Spider-Man: Brand New Day, I wouldn't mind getting a new Spidey that I've been wanting for a while. There's a couple other early Toy Biz Marvel characters that I kind of want to pick up, but they're villains, which is good because one of these villains is a villain I haven't had in my collection yet. The other character, I've had two versions of him. Um, but I'm like, yeah, these are cool. These are cool. They're more kind of gimmicky. They're movie figures, so movie villains. Okay, cool. But I'm interested in getting those. So, like I said, I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, could be Small Soldier related. Could be, like I said, Marvel related. Could be something random I just didn't plan on getting. You never know. It's always something new on my unexpected on my channel. So that's it for this video. Like I said, if you're interested in these guys, go for it. You can find them for all various prices on the secondhand market. Yeah, as always, like, comment, subscribe, share. Stay tuned for more. Peace, guys.